So, from Hinduism to Judaism to Buddhism to Christianity and now to Islam, with its emergence around the year 500 AD, along the timeline of their consecutive emergence within history. From the panentheistic metaphysical ontological perspective, Islam. What new concept has Islam firmly established within society? Justice will not be denied. Its focus on justice. What does the conceptual framework of Islam have to offer us? Islam, the term means submission to God. The faith is characterized by an exclusive monotheism, the worship of Allah as the one true God, and Muhammad as the greatest of the prophets. Depending upon the degree of one's faithfulness and purity, one falls into the tortures of hell or feasting, the duties, payment of 2% poor tax. The ethical impulse of the movement would seem to have been powered more by justice than mercy. Dictionary of Philosophy of Religion, William L. Rees, page 349. What do Muslims bring to the world? As do Jews, Buddhists, and Christians. They continue to spread of the Hindu idea of monotheism, which, trailing back, is where it was first incepted. The soul and eternal life. Their worldview influence reaches over 1 billion Muslims in the world. In addition, they bring a commitment to the Buddhist struggle against suffering, and they bring something new into the total picture. Muslims bring the idea of justice as a part of not only this life, but the life to follow. Justice, the idea of fair treatment and due reward in the afterlife, implies being responsible for one's actions in this life. What does the idea of justice do for a causative force, or God, or Allah in this case? The idea of fair treatment and due reward in the afterlife suggests that we have a responsibility in this life. It suggests that we all have a responsibility, and we must all determine just what that responsibility is. However, since we are all significant, since we all have a responsibility, we must respect each person's attempt at accomplishing the responsibility each feels they have as individuals. We have no right to interfere with a person's journey in this life as long as that journey does not interfere with the journey of others. Justice will be meted out by a force far greater, both in power and understanding, than ourselves. Justice will not be denied. Justice will be enforced in the life beyond this one. The whole concept of justice being a part of the afterlife releases us of the socially time-consuming burden involving agonizing over the just sentencing in a transgression. It would cause us to look at how to rectify the situation and how to prevent its happening to anyone in society again. What does the conceptual framework of Islam imply about the universe within which we live? Islam tells us, beware, justice will prevail. In Hinduism, beware, karma will prevail. In Christianity, one reaps what one sows. It may or not come in this universe, but either way, it will come in the afterlife, in eternity. Hinduism brings us the concepts of a causative force, an eternal soul, and the connection of the two. Judaism spreads the ideas to the West. Buddhism brings us the idea that suffering must not be tolerated. Christianity tells us to love one another, in many ways unconditionally, which is the first step to eliminating suffering. Islam tells us to take the concept of eliminating suffering seriously, for although justice may not prevail at once here on earth, there will be no escaping it in eternity. Buddhism for enlightenment, Christianity with love, Islam to avoid repercussions. All point towards the same idea: work to eliminate suffering. Islam, as well as the rest, does not imply these ideas are earthly ideas. It implies they are absolutes. They do not lack qualifiers. We have no right to say justice should apply in one case, but we will overlook it in another case. In other words, they are universal ideas which we are to take with us as we travel throughout the universe. Under Islamic perceptions in eternity, justice will prevail. You will face justice in regards to how well you met your responsibilities in your journey through life. But justice implies judgment, and who would be willing to judge knowing they would have to face the results of bad judgment calls as well as the good ones in the hereafter? Who will do the judging if it may imperil them in terms of their personal eternal state of being? Perhaps we should stop putting our fellow souls in jeopardy by calling upon them to judge. Perhaps it's time to eliminate in our present life forms the concept of judging or judgmentalism. Judge not lest ye be judged. How do we do this and still protect journeys for which we all have a responsibility? We could do so by accepting the Islamic concept that justice will prevail. We could start leaving justice to eternity. Now individual actions will not be examined in order to bring justice, but rather to right wrongs, in order to prevent harm from being inflicted upon other journeys. Accepting the Islamic belief that justice will prevail implies we would move from judging journeys to protecting journeys. We would move from being judgmental to rectifying wrongs imposed upon journeys, whether in ignorance or knowledge, to protecting others from having their personal journeys infringed upon. The universe would now experience a non-judgmental traveler, humanity.